local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show for May 29th, 2024. Coming off of a Padres loss, but a series win. We are going to get into that. I'm Matt Skraby. Thank you for joining me. If you would like to watch on YouTube, you can. Just go to YouTube, type in 97.3 The Fan, and you'll be able to join the Skraby Nation that's happening right now in the YouTube chat. And you could also watch us on Facebook, 97.3 The Fan, and Twitter, 97.3 The Fan SD. On there, and then 97.3thefansd.com. And yes, Em McKee, I am doing the roundtable tomorrow with Braden Soprenant, with Annie and Elston, with Ben Higgins, with Mr. Chris L.O. So everybody tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. to see what kind of crazy hijinks happen during that. But I really hope that we don't talk about how, I guess, this season's been depressing so far, because I know that we are looking at the Marlins beating the Padres big today, but I'm going to give the Padres credit. I know we just talked about it on Gwen and Chris, but I'm going to give them credit for winning another series after losing 2 of 3 to the Yankees. And we've said it on this show before, but you need to stop your losing streaks. And the longest one they've recently had was 3 to the Rockies. So I am okay with the 2 out of 3 winning those series, because ultimately it will get you to where it wants to go, where you want to go. And today was a bad day. You heard Mike Schultz say it in the press conference. We're going to get to his audio in a little bit, but it was a sloppy game for the Padres. And when they do that, Chris said it, they don't win. And that's not a surprise. Teams that play sloppy do not win. Now, I think it's interesting that they play sloppy sporadically, because some nights they are perfect. And some games, obviously, it's baseball. They play a lot of games. They're not as good. And today was one of those days. I haven't seen Manny have a bad day like that at third in a long time. And I was at the game when he threw that ball over to first. All of us were like, wow, Manny, we've never seen Manny make a throw like that. Also, then he made a play later, and he got someone out from his knees. So, that's Manny Machado. But he did have a tough day at third, which is something that we never, ever, ever say. Never say. It's pretty disappointing, though, when you're looking at a series sweep, and you're trying to get that series sweep, and the starting pitcher that you have on the mound is Yu Darvish, and Yu's coming off of a tough start, but you still have faith in Yu Darvish. You still have faith in what he can do, because he had a pretty good stretch here recently after he came off the IL, and then you go behind early, and you're just kind of looking up from then. And that's not what the Padres want to see. We've talked about that so many times. It takes a lot of energy to come back in games. And today with Ha-Seong Kim hitting that home run, it was 3-1. You thought maybe possibly something could happen, but then the game got away from the Padres and they end up falling. But I'm going to be positive about this. They are 30-29. Was it a frustrating game today? Absolutely it was. Was the offense not great again at home? Yes, the offense was not great. Will we care about this if we make the playoffs? No, we won't. So I'm not going to look at this too much. And the Mike Schilt press conferences, now post-game press conferences, if you really don't listen to them, you should, because they're not getting contentious. I don't want to make it seem like that. I want everybody to realize that this is a good, healthy relationship between the media and the manager, because the media is trying to get information for fans and try to dissect this stuff and analyze it, and the manager is going to defend his team every single time. And I don't, since we just played this, I don't normally do this, but this was such good audio that I'm going to play what happened post game, and AJ Cassavell's voice is going to take it away.
This season, when you guys have kind of hit some rough patches, you've kind of fought back with resiliency, and then there have been a few times where it looks like you're about to take off and haven't quite hit that gear yet. What do you make anything of that, or is that just?
See, I kind of take a little exception with that. I really do. I mean, every time we lose a game, we can't say it's like there's a rough patch. when we just won a series. I don't understand. I don't get that. I mean, and you win 7 out of 9 series. I get it. We lost. It wasn't a crisp game, but I don't buy into that. I can't support that particular narrative.
Can I clarify then?
You can
Because I don't think this was a rough patch. I think you guys were playing pretty good baseball the last 3 games, and
Right.
you haven't necessarily been able to kind of really hit that stride that's taken you guys off this season. I'm just wondering if that roller coaster, in your opinion, is just kind of the nature of the
Again, I
baseball
take
season.
exception with this roller coaster. I want to ride every roller coaster I can ever get on winning 7 out of 9 series. You sign me up for that ride, I'm all on board. Because if you go 6-4 the whole season, you win 96 games. So, I mean, I do understand the question. You talk about taking off, but gosh, man, I don't have a great answer for winning 7 out of 9 series not being good enough.
Now, I do understand where Mike Schilt is coming from, and he is spicy, and I like this because there is some discussion here, and it's not just stock answers, and I'm not going to name anyone, but a few years ago it was, I'm just so excited that these guys battled up there, and the word battle came up about 150 times each post-game press conference, but I don't have issue with Mike Schilt saying this because he's absolutely right. If they hadn't won 7 out of the last 9 series, we're all very upset about it, and we're talking about how they can't win. But they have won 7 out of 9 series, so why are we talking about it like it's this hugely negative, terrible thing? Because honestly, it's not. 7 out of 9 series is pretty good. I would have to go through and see what other teams in baseball are doing, but for a team that we've talked about hovering around 500 all year, to win 7 of 9 series is I think an accomplishment, because you are playing good enough to win some games, but you're not playing good enough to get on a roll. And so Mike Schilt, that's where I don't disagree. Mike Schilt needs to figure out how to get that roller coaster on a roll, because that's what they need. They need some long winning streaks. And when you only win 3 at a time, or 3 in a row, 4 in a row, and then you lose 2, you're taking those 2 steps forward, you're taking 2 steps back, all of that stuff. And so I understand. I get why Mike Schilt is taking exception to it, and I totally understand his perspective. But the record proves everything to us. And in the end, it's about wins and losses. And so that's where the media is coming at it from. Like AJ Cassavell, I'm not going to speak for him. You heard his voice there. But AJ Cassavell is just trying to figure out, like, how do you feel about not being able to get on a roll? And so in Mike Schilt's mind, he thinks, yeah, we are on a roll, or we have been on a roll. We won 7 of 9 series. So I think there's a little bit of a disconnect from someone who has lived, breathed, slept baseball his entire life, basically, and then us, the fans, because we just want to see wins. We don't really care how they come about. We just want to see wins. And we have been seeing wins as of late. Cameron says, Schilt is right. 7 out of 9 is not a rough patch. Media needs to stop poking the bear. See, I disagree with that, Cameron, a little bit, because I think that there are questions that need to be asked about why the team can't get on a 5-game winning streak, 5, 6, 7, 8-game winning streak, because it hasn't happened. And we talked about it during Gwyn and Chris when I found the MLBsweeps.com. The last sweep that the Padres had was last season in the last series against the Chicago White Sox. And now this year, the Rangers, the Blue Jays, and the Cardinals are the only teams this season, along with the Padres, that have not swept a series yet. Every other team has swept a series. The Rockies swept a series against the Padres, you might remember. The Royals have swept a couple series. The Dodgers have swept series. The Miami Marlins swept the Rockies. Even the Mets, who are wasting away in New York right now, have swept a series. So that's why I think the media is doing an okay job. I don't think those are unfair questions at all. I don't think that's unfair. Dominic says, you're not on a roll when you're just a game over 500. I can disagree with that. I can, because, again, 7 out of 9 series is going to put you with a winning record by the end of the year. So the the marathon that we are running, that is this baseball season, over time, you're hopefully, if everything goes according to plan and they keep winning series and they keep winning 2 out of 3 in series, you'll see that number rise away from 500. I'm hoping. All right, let's do a roll call real quick. We got M. McKee here. Welsh Fryer says at least we finally win over, or 2 over 500. We got Dominic. We got Katie. We got a caveman in here. Trevor. Brandon, Cameron, Taps. There's a lot. Annabelle. There's a lot of people in the chat right now. So if you wanted to join us, then you could just go to 97.3 The Fan on Facebook or YouTube, and you can watch us there and join in the fun. Bill says, you knew Schilt threw up the white flag when he brought in Kolek and De Los Santos. Those guys have been horrible lately. Kolek all year and De Los Santos giving another home run ball. I don't think he waved the white flag because Yu Darvish said that he was, or Mike Schultz said that Yu Darvish left the game because he was injured. So I don't think that's him throwing up the white flag. Man, people are tough in here. I mean, I don't know what else. I know that people want them to win every single game. And don't get me wrong, I want them to win every single game too. But they're winning right now. It might be a little bit hollow for me to say that when they're 1 game over 500, but they are. They are. If they were under 500, this would be much worse. So we should, I guess, what I'm trying to say is be happy with what we have right now and just keep cheering this team on. All right, tonight on the Skraby Show, we are going to look at something that Michael King said to Dennis Lin. And Michael King pitched in the New York environment, and he responded a little bit. I don't think maybe directly to Cameron Maybin and what he said about playing for the Yankees, but we'll go over that a little bit. I want to try something new. 2 things that are something new. I want to try doing a Chronicles of Matt Waldron, which if this goes well, I might do some more of these. But Matt Waldron has been the 5th starter on this team all season long. And I feel like Matt Waldron has been up and down a little bit, but as of late, he's been awesome, and he has cemented his spot in the rotation for at least now, and maybe even through the All-Star break if he keeps pitching well. But I'm going to try to go through some Chronicles of Matt Waldron. I'm not sure how it's going to go, to be honest, so I have music and everything. Also, I want to try doing something called That's Baseball. Yeah, like we talked about it on Friday. When baseball players, I think it was Juan Soto who said that he didn't play well in a San Diego uniform, and he was like, that's baseball. So I'm going to go through some things that I think are fun and, hey, it's baseball. Another segment, I have no idea if it's going to go well or not. And I have my daily gripe, which I got from the Skraby Show Discord today. And then I do want to talk about what happened with Grayson Murray, and I do want to get serious for a little bit at the end of the show because this has been on my mind. It's been affecting me. I have been down in the dumps for some reason about it. And so I want to, talk it out with all of you because I have never been shy from being raw on the radio, and that's what's going to happen a little bit later when I get there. But this right now is the Skraby Show. When we get back, we're going to be talking about Michael King and Matt Waldron. And everybody, jump on the YouTube. Just search 97.3 The Fan.
It's home.
Matt Skraby back with you here in the Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan. Padres fall to the Marlins today. They take 2 of 3 from the Marlins in this 3-game series. I believe they lost 9-1 today, 8-1 today. I just stopped checking, to be honest. But one of those two. We're going to be talking about Michael King here in a second. We're going to be talking about Matt Waldron here in a second. But we have to talk about what I just found in the break. And the Mets. At least the Padres are not the Mets. The Mets are an absolute mess right now. They, what was the stat? Let me see if I can find this stat real quick. But it was like the Mets have lost or blown 5 of the last 7. Here it is. They've blown 5 of their last 7 save opportunities and 8 of their last 14. This was as of yesterday. Edwin Diaz, Adam Ottavino, Reed Garrett, and Jake Diekman all have blown saves over that stretch. Now, here's the thing. So, I guess there's a pitcher for the Mets named Jorge Lopez. He was not happy with an umpire. He was ejected by the umpire, and as he was walking off of the field, he decided to throw his glove into the stands, and in a lot of frustration. And the Mets are like, why did you get rid of him? And so Jorge Lopez asked after the game whether or not he regrets. Here, let me just play the audio of him after the game tonight because it's kind of crazy.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So, whatever they want to do it. I'll be tomorrow here if they want me, whatever they want to do. So, I'm going to keep doing this thing, So, I'm healthy on whatever, on whatever to do,
Well, he said, I'll be here if I'm here, if they want me. Well, according to Steve Gelbs, who covers the New York Mets, following his outburst, they say the Mets will DFA Jorge Lopez. He also called his team the worst team in the whole bleeping MLB, which he's not wrong. Why are you mad at him for that? I mean, he's kind of right about that. Let's just be honest. I mean, they have been awful this year. And I don't understand how they didn't learn from last year. Just buying a team does not work. Okay, we don't need to go down that road right now. Trevor says, should we trade good prospects for Vlad? No, I don't know. I don't think Vladdy. That's a whole different conversation for a whole different day. But if you're gonna bring in Vladdy, you're gonna have to look at the payroll. You're gonna have to look at what he's been doing now, all this other stuff. Maybe one day we'll do that. Let's talk about Michael King real quick because Michael King. He has played for the Yankees, and the Yankees are known to have some of the toughest fans in all of sports. And he was talking to Dennis Lin, and they were talking about how the team hasn't been able to win at home. And Michael King says that he knows that they haven't been able to win at home, and the team knows this, and the team is trying to figure it out. But here's what Michael King said about Cameron Maybin's quote, where Cameron Maybin wrote, beginning of April, talking about Juan Soto and why he's been successful with the Yankees. And Cameron Maybin tweeted, in San Diego, if you struggle, as a player, nobody's booing you, telling you you're trash, you should die, etc. So he said that. King was asked about that, and King told Dennis Lin, it's not necessarily true. I'm getting told that I should die too when I have poor outings with the Padres. I think that's just how fans are, but I also think that because there's an expectation going into it, they have reason to then boo bad play. I don't necessarily really want to know that Padre fans are telling Michael King he should die. I don't think anybody should be telling anybody that they should die over sports. That's kind of crazy. But Michael King gets it. He understands what it's like to play for a team with high expectations. And so he is a good person to lean on in this whole thing. He didn't realize that San Diego had fans. And I'm not saying that he didn't know. I'm just saying that he probably didn't realize the intensity of the San Diego Padres fan base. And he went on to say that he was shocked quote, I was incredibly shocked once I actually got here. It's an electric atmosphere here almost every single day. And I was then thinking, oh, maybe it's just against LA. And on a Tuesday, we're selling out against Cincinnati. It's like you come here, you look at the team that's assembled and the expectations that are on us. And so you have the expectations, you have the players in the locker room, and you also have fans that sell out all the time. So it's very comparable atmosphere that I saw in New York. Tyler Wade, who played for the Yankees for 4 seasons, also agreed. He said he doesn't really notice a difference in intensity between fans. So I think that Michael King is a guy who can help this team with his experience being a Yankee and with his experience being a Yankee pitcher, because he's probably had some insults thrown his way here and there. But this, to me, is I want to hear Michael King say this, because it's not like he's taking it as, oh, these ungrateful fans. No, he is taking it as, man, we need to play better or else they're not going to stop booing. And today Manny got booed. I think that was a little tough on people booing, because today at least, yeah, Manny had a bad game, but he also made some good plays. I don't think that the play he got booed for today deserved a booing. But again, the players know that the expectations are there. And the players know that they got to start winning at home. And reading that this morning, that Michael King said all this, made me feel a little bit better about the mindset in that clubhouse. Because if Michael King is thinking like that, then other players are thinking like that too. And everything that we heard all week about Luis Ariz with the Marlins in town, and the Marlins have a huge hole in their locker room now because Luis Ariz was he was kind of their leader and their veteran, and he's not there anymore. So Michael King and co are going to be taking over, and Luis Ariz has already been a good addition and will continue to be a good addition to the team. All right, let's try this. Let's try this with Matt Waldron. The Chronicles of Matt Waldron. I don't know how this is going to go, so everybody stick with me. But I got some music for it, and I call it the Chronicle music. Just imagine Matt Waldron pitching to this all season long. Now, Matt Waldron has been interesting. Fans have loved him. Fans have also been frustrated with him. He entered last night's game with a 2-5 record and a 4.86 ERA in 10 starts. Of the 26 runs that he had allowed coming into last night, 22 of them were given up in the first 2 innings. That was 12 in the first and 10 in the second. So that's something you need to pay attention to when Matt Waldron is pitching. How's he doing giving up runs in the early innings? Because if he doesn't give up runs, then he's doing good stuff. But he earned his spot as the 5th guy in spring training. He was pitching knowing he would be the first guy out of the rotation if he couldn't hang. And he started his year giving up 4 runs against the Cardinals. Then he gave up 1 run over his next 2 starts. And then things get a little squirrely. He had 1 bad one against the Blue Jays, gave up 5 runs. And we were all wondering if this was going to be how it happened every 5th game. And then he came right back. They were in Colorado against the Rockies. He got his first win of the year. We were all pumped. He rebounded and got the win. Then he goes back and he gives up 4 runs against the Reds at Petco and receives his 3rd loss of the year. And I think most of us were mostly mad at the offense for getting shut down by Nick Lodolo that night. So not going to put too much pressure on him. And then Matt Waldron's very next start against the Diamondbacks, I think this is where it was teetering to maybe start talking about a new 5th pitcher, because he gave up 7 runs, a season high, and he lasted a season low 3 innings against the Diamondbacks in Arizona. I think the anxiety at this point was that the Padres needed wins, and they needed every guy in the rotation to deliver, because we've talked about that. When the guy in the rotation delivers, they win. When they have poor pitching from the starter, they lose. So after that Arizona outing, I know that we were talking about it here. Will he stay the 5th starter? Will he stay in this rotation? But the Chronicles of Matt Waldron are not done yet, because with the pressure of probably losing his spot in the rotation with a few more bad outings, he took the loss against the Dodgers, but he only gave up 2 runs and he kept the Padres in the game. So we're happy about that. Then Matt Waldron continued to build because he found confidence, and in Atlanta against a pretty good Braves lineup, He struck out 10, only giving up 1 run, and got his second win of the season. So we're feeling better about that. Then Waldron then struck out 7 against the Reds in an eventual 10-inning win. Then last night, he gave up no runs and struck out 8. He has struck out 25 batters in his last 3 games, and that is second best in baseball over the last 15 days. And he also has a 1.53 ERA and a 1.19 WHIP. Now, has Matt Waldron been on the brink of being removed from the rotation? Probably not the brink. He was close, but when Joe Musgrove got injured earlier in the year, it brought Waldron some more time, and he is doing great things with it. When his knuckleball is on, he's pretty hard to hit, as we've seen. He's been throwing more and more knuckleballs as it goes along. And so I was listening to Tony and Don Orsillo last night on the TV, and they were saying, Matt Waldron, if, coming into the season, he didn't want to be known necessarily as a knuckleball pitcher, but now that his knuckleball is working for him, he is throwing it a lot more, and it's more successful. This year, his knuckleball, let's see here, he has thrown 364 knuckleballs this year. So out of all the pitches he's thrown 37% knuckleball, 23% fastball. So that tells you right there that he's going to lean on that knuckleball, and he's going to lean on that knuckleball a lot. And if it's good, Matt Waldron is going to be good. I'm looking at some of the chats because I didn't want to look because I didn't know how it was going. But Dominic says, so basically kind of what you expect from a 5th starter. No, this is what I think this is better than what a 5th starter. A guy who strikes out 25 in the last 3 games. Matt Waldron has made the most of his time at the big league level. And Matt Waldron has made the most with that Joe Musgrove injury. Randy Vasquez was brought up. They were trying to try him out, see if he was good enough for the rotation. Couldn't do it, so it kept Waldron there. And he's doing, a lot of good things with it right now. I'm trying to find how many knuckleballs he threw last night, but I'm not finding it quick enough. Not finding it quick enough, so I'm going to go away from that. But in the end, the chronicles of Matt Waldron are that he's going to stay the 5th starter, and he's going to do good things for the Padres every 5th day. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to listen back to that later. I don't know if I like how that went. Dominic says the inconsistency, Yes, the inconsistency is definitely what a 5th starter has. They have good stuff one day, they have bad stuff another day. But he's now starting to get himself into a spot where he's being consistent every single game. Ever since that Atlanta Braves series, or start. The last 3, he's been striking out everyone. All right, I hope you enjoyed the music too, because I did. I really like this sort of music. Sometimes I just go download this music and think of cool stuff I could do with it. But anyway, there we go. The Chronicles of Matt Waldron. All right, let's head to break here on the Skraby Show. When we get back, I don't even know if I want to try this new game, That's Baseball. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out together. But we're going to keep talking Padres. If you have any comments or questions or concerns, you can tweet me at Matt Skraby, or you can go to the YouTube 97.3 The Fan and ask them there. We will be back shortly with some more Skraby Show. Daily Gripes still to come.
The biggest App's chaptering feature allows you to skip any segment you want.
Like I can listen to those guys forever.
On 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome back into the Skraby Show here on 97.3 The Fan. I'm Matt Skraby. Thank you for listening. Padres lose to the Marlins today. They win the series, but they lose the game. Bad, sloppy game for the Padres today. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot going on. I'm surprised there weren't more errors charged to the Padres because some of those plays did definitely look like errors. Now, in the break, I was notified on X. Now it's officially X, by Nuke Voigt, which I love the name. The Cards swept Baltimore last week. So my MLBsweeps.com was a little bit, it says sweep data current through series ended May 20th, which is when the Cardinals started their winning streak against the Orioles. So there you go. One more team off of the list of teams that haven't swept this year. The Padres, the Rangers, and the Blue Jays. Still looking for that. Even the Nationals swept the Marlins in Miami, which isn't that hard to do. It's hard to play in that place, honestly. I've been there before. I've been to where the Miami Marlins play, and it's a big, empty building. It just, you can hear echoes. It's a very strange place to play a baseball game, especially when there's not many people there. We are going to get to the Daily Gripe at the end of the show, and I am going to talk about Grayson Murray, and I'm going to talk about some of the things about alcoholism, and it's going to get real for a second, so hopefully, if you don't want to hear it, that's okay. I understand it, but at the same time, I've been thinking a lot about this situation. I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to say, and so it's not something that I'm just going into willy-nilly right now. All right, I'm going to do the That's Baseball first, though, because last week we were making jokes that anytime something bad happens, you just say, that's baseball, because that's what the players say. And they just go, oh, that's baseball. I went 0 for 75. Well, that's baseball. So let me get some music, because I think we need some here. And we're just going to go through some quick ones. If you have any of these That's Baseball moments, you can put them on the chat on YouTube. But let's find this. Oh my gosh, I'm doing really bad at running the board right now by myself. Sure, we'll do this one. All right, this is the one that I thought of when I was thinking, that's baseball. Phillies. They take 3 from the Padres, and they look dominant here in San Diego. While they go to San Francisco, the Phillies, they drop 2 to the Giants, and they lose the series. That's baseball, everyone. That is baseball. It's really annoying that the Giants were able to take more games than the Padres were. It's really annoying that the Phillies were playing so well when they came to town. It's annoying. The next one. This one is going to be right up everyone's alley. Padres win 3 in a row. Going for their 4th. They allow the most hits the Marlins have had all year so far. That's baseball, everybody. That's baseball. Marlins had like 16 hits today. Their previous record for the season was 14. But you know what? They did it against the Padres today. It always seems like things like that come against the Padres. Dan says this team is annoying. Team is very annoying, Dan. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Here's another one. And this one is where we got it from. Juan Soto. Juan Soto is the most incredible baseball player of all time right now. And he never once looked like this in a Padres uniform. And like he said on Friday, and where we came up with this, that's baseball. That might be the most annoying that's baseball ever. Because Juan Soto never once looked like this in a Padres uniform. Never once. And I've gotten over it. I haven't talked about it in a long time, but that's baseball. Now, Seth Lugo was good with the Padres last year, but he is on another level with the Royals this year. Thankfully, the Padres don't have to face Seth Lugo. I don't believe this weekend. I'm pretty sure they're not going to face Seth Lugo this season. Or not this season, but this road trip. Seth Lugo is 8-1 with a 1.74 ERA on the season, which is the best in baseball. Say it with me, everybody. That's baseball. Seth Lugo being the most incredible pitcher in the American League right now. Also, this one's not really, this one's not really proven. There's no stats behind it. I guess there are stats behind it, but I'm wearing my whale shirt. If everybody wants to see it on the stream, there's the whale shirt that everybody makes fun of. It's a killer whale jumping through a Nike Air logo. I'm 0-2 in this shirt when I attend games. 0-2 when I attend games in one of my favorite shirts. That's baseball. All right. That's it for That's Baseball. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if we're ever going to do it again. But I had fun with it. And McKee says Lugo is pitching in the Twins game right now. Okay. So that means that he won't be pitching against the Padres, which is a good thing. All right, let's transition into this really difficult topic. And it's about Grayson Murray, and it's about him deciding to end his own life. He was very outspoken about mental health and depression and anxiety and alcoholism and all of that. And I don't like doing this, but I think it's necessary because it's top of mind, and I do think it's important. But you never really know what people are going through. And I know we're moving from something fun and stupid, like That's Baseball, into something very serious, and it's life. But this has really bothered me ever since I found out the news. I don't know why. And sometimes some of these stories, like the last thing that really, really, really bothered me was when Henry Ruggs got into the accident driving drunk and killed that poor girl and her dog. And that really got to me. Just certain stories will, for some reason, make me more sad than other stories. And this story just proves to me, because I've seen a lot of different reaction to it. And, people can have a smile on their face, but feel terrible inside. It sounds like Grayson Murray was feeling terrible inside, and I'm not going to put feelings onto him, but obviously with the result of everything, there was a lot of terrible things going on in his mind. And I was once one of those people who had a smile on their face, but felt terrible inside. And I tried my hardest to not let anybody know about it. I tried my hardest to pretend like I was happy. I tried my hardest that, okay, here we're going to get real now. We're going to get real now. Tried my hardest not to wake up when this is 7, 8, 9 years ago, wake up and start crying immediately because I was so depressed and I hated my life so much that I would just immediately start crying as I woke up because I didn't want to wake up. That's true. That's a true story. I remember calling my mom one morning saying, I don't want to be here anymore, Mom. And I wasn't really threatening anything, but it was getting to a point where people were getting very scared about this, about me. And the reason I know this is about Grayson Murray, but I want to tell you my background because maybe it will let you in on something, because some people say, oh, Grayson Murray, he's got the life. He's a pro golfer. He makes a lot of money, travels the world. What does he have to be sad about? It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how great your life is on the outside if your life's not great on the inside. And Grayson Murray was vocal about this. And he seemingly was doing something about it. And it was still too much for him to bear. And this isn't someone who kept this a secret. This is someone who was open about it. This is someone who was asking for help, doing all the right things. And this is why I don't, this is why I think it bothers me so much. is because he was doing the right things. He was doing everything that everyone has said to do, which is tell people, go and get help for it, get on medication. And yes, he tried all that, but it didn't work for him. And that's what makes me the most sad. It just tells you how much pain he really was feeling on the inside. And again, just because he has money doesn't mean it's going to fix things. Just because he has money doesn't mean that he is going to be instantly cured of everything. It doesn't work that way. In fact, I would, and I don't have stats behind this, this is my personal opinion, but I would feel like people who have money are probably more stressed if they're in a depressive nature, just because there's a lot more to lose. And so I think there's more pressure on people who make more money. But you know, I've also seen comments of, man, this guy decided to take his own life. You know, what a selfish guy. And I have said in the past that I believe suicide is selfish, and I'm not blaming the person for it, the person that does the act. I am not saying that they're selfish. Obviously, going through a lot of mental anguish. But it affects so many people when things like this happen. It affects everyone around. And yesterday I said Peter Malnati of the PGA Tour, who played with Grayson Murray on that Friday, he had a really tough time in his post-round interview. And this is tough audio, but I think it's very important for everyone to hear, because this is raw emotion of someone who didn't really know Grayson Murray, but this is how suicide affects people.
We get so worked up out here about, you know, bad break here or good break there. Look. You know, we're so competitive. So competitive out here. We all want to beat each other. And then something like this happens and you realize that we're all just humans. And it's a really hard day, because you look at Grayson and you see in him like someone who is, you know, visibly outwardly struggled in the past, and he's been open about it. And then you see him kind of get his life back to a place where, you know, he's feeling good about things. It's just so sad. I mean, I was with him yesterday, and he was playing great. Like, his game is so good. He's so good at golf. It's a huge loss for, you know, for all of us on the PGA Tour. It's a huge loss for our fans. It's a huge loss for... In a time like this, you realize that as much as we want to beat each other, as much as we want to be competitive, we really are. We're one big family, and we lost one today, and that's terrible.
So, obviously, really struggling, Peter Malnati, struggling with this news. And so I played that for a couple reasons, and I told you before, I played that because it just tells you how much this stuff affects people. And that is powerful. It really is. And if you're saying, I'm going to admit something right now that I have never admitted on the radio, and I have been debating admitting this so many times in the last couple days, but you're saying, what kind of guy would want to kill himself? I once called my family and told them that I wanted to end my life. And then I turned off my phone and I didn't answer it for a good 3-4 hours. Looking back on that, that's one of the most hurtful things I've ever done to anyone. Because for those 3 or 4 hours, they were fearing the worst. And so that's where I was. I've come a long way, and it's because I got help, and it's because I kept getting help. But if you're out there and you feel this way, just know it's very important for you to be here. And it's very important for you to keep fighting. I kept fighting. A lot of people keep fighting. But you're listening to someone right now who thought it was so bad, it was time to end everything. And that is what I'm going to leave with people with today. I'm better. Like, I'm not better, but I have worked on it, and I continue to work on it, and I will always work on it, and I will always do the good thing. And so that's why I want to help people, and I'm not trying to use Grayson Murray to sell shirts because I'm not making any money off of this, but go to my Twitter, go to the bio link. You'll be able to go and donate and buy a Skrabinator shirt. I'm going to try and start something to help people get help, alcoholics, because it's a really tough life. Really, really tough life, and I really hope that everyone listening to this kind of takes stock of their life right now and just kind of appreciates things. And when we're talking about this stuff, it makes the Padres and their roller coaster ways not as important, to me at least. And I know a lot of other people it's not as important either. And I know a lot of people out there have faced this in their own families, in their own friend groups. But I just want everybody to know that there is life after the worst feeling in your life. There is something to live for. So please, if you're listening right now and you need help, or if you're thinking, man, I'm ready to get help, go and do it. Call the suicide hotline. I'm actually going to get the number right here because I didn't plan on going this route. You can call 988. That's what it's telling me. So, suicide prevention, call 988, and please don't do it. Just know there's a lot of people out there that love you. All right, I will be on the roundtable tomorrow, 10 a.m. Please, everybody, tune in, and then you have another Skraby Show tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Be good to each other.